for today. And InEvent Talks is an original series. We talk about large different topics, always to help event professionals, AV professionals, marketing people to get more knowledge, to learn more with someone that is doing incredible in our event industry. So I'm here today with Fardad Zabetian, co-founder and CEO of Kudo. As a visionary entrepreneur, Fardad has found a placed 2 companies among the fast-growing business in America. He has also expanded to key markets over Europe and Asia. Fardad is no stronger to big challenges. Big challenge is not a problem for him. And in 2022, he was part of the design and rollout of a complete makeover of the United Nations meeting facilities. We're gonna talk about this, including the General Assembly Hall in New York. He has also played a key supporting role as a high-end equipment provider to various iterations with the World Bank annual meeting and several European institutions. Thank you so much for that, for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Is there anything else you would like to share about your background? That's amazing. Accomplished.
Thank you. No, that's great. I'm based in New York City, in Brooklyn, and my office is only a block away. So thanks for making it easy for me to come here.
It's so better, right? When we can just walk to somewhere.
Exactly.
The traffic is getting crazy in the city.
Yeah.
People are, everyone is in your office, back to your office, or you have people?
Most people are back, but we're basically a hybrid remote team. So we have teams, about 130 people across Asia, Europe, and Americas, and pretty much remote first, even before pandemic.
So even before pandemic, you already accustomed with this model, right? That was not something new for you.
Exactly.
And when the pandemic hit, was just like, okay, we no office anymore for a couple of months here.
Well, pandemic really made it even easier for us to hire remote employees because it became a lot more accessible. There were a lot of new platforms for hiring remote employees based on local compliances. So we start expanding quickly across other countries other than US.
And the pool of talent also increased, right?
Absolutely.
More
you get closer to customers, you get closer to basically more diverse language and also cultural background. So it helps us a lot for bringing the right product to the market.
And why did you create Kudo? So Kudo, for those that don't know, right, Kudo is a go-to provider for multilingual communication solutions designed for anyone who needs to speak, collaborate, or travel over actual or virtual borders. So what exactly Kudo do, and why did you decide to build that?
Great question. So Kudo is my 3rd company. I've been always in the space of language and technology. So in this space for 25 years. What brought me to New York from San Francisco was being awarded to renovate the UN back in 2011. And 1 year turned out to be now 11 years being in New York and probably not going back.
Your initial plan was just to stay for 1 year.
Yes, to finish that project.
And you fall in love with the city? Was all the busy part that
got married, 2 kids, and here I am. But much easier to do business, international business out of East Coast versus California because of time zone.
Time zone, it's a big difference in the West Coast, right? We have like 3 hours behind New York, like 6-7 hours, sometimes 8 hours behind Europe, right?
It's very difficult from West Coast to do business with Europe. Of course, then I realized that all of my experiences, all of my focus in the last 2 companies were for in-person meetings. One was in a technology for interpretation for in-person meetings, and the other one was event for multilingual meetings. So we have the largest inventory for in-person meetings when it comes to language interpretation. But with Kudo, we wanted to really grow this experience from like 4 walls to 4 corners of the world. So how we can create a software that can provide language access to hybrid and online meetings without all the infrastructure, all the planning, all the logistics. So that was really the initial thought behind Kudo. Of course, being in the business, we had initial product market fit and launched the product end of 2018. And in 2019, we had a few customers already signing up, large events, Amazon, AWS, Facebook, they all used our solution for their big in-person meetings. Then COVID happened.
Those meetings before was more internal meetings with
person.
customers as well.
Yes, they're using our app, listening to different languages and hearing the audio, original audio in the room. Then of course, pandemic happened and really accelerated our business plans by 3-4 years. And we grew quite fast. And we had the right product at the right time. We went from like 3 million minutes per month to 3 million minute usage per day. Right? Wow. So within 3 weeks. So think about the infrastructure that you need to build to support that.
A couple of hours waking up to make sure the technical team is supportive, like, and you are supporting them, right?
Exactly. We had in the last 2.5 years, we had almost zero downtime on our platform because of really our DevOps had all these servers and backups available. But going back to your question, Kudo, we are a language as a service platform. So we provide live interpretation for hybrid, online or in-person meetings, where we have a marketplace of 12,000 interpreters, qualified interpreters, that you can book on our platform, self-serve, by using your credit card or having a subscription plan at a more affordable price to bring qualified interpreters to your platform of choice. So whether you want to meet on InEvent or any other platform or web conferencing platform, we have integration with them as well.
Perfect. Nice. You mentioned about product market fit, and maybe it's not everyone that is used to this keyword, but the key aspect of product market fit is talking to your customer, right? Like you needed to listen to your customer. You needed to understand like what they need, what exactly. It's that key aspect that if you don't develop, if you don't have that, either they're not going to use your product or they're not satisfied, and you will see like a growing that you cannot control the fast growing pace. So how is it for you today, like talking to customer? And you mentioned 26 years of being in this industry, right? Like that probably helped you immensely to build your company. So how you do that today? Like how do you talk to customers? How do you listen to them? Is there any particular process that you make that happen?
So, great question. I look at product market fit from 0 to 1 million revenue, right? So that's where it's a CEO sale, right? You go in, you go through your network, you really showcase, do all this customization, do all those additional, development that you need to make sure you build something that people are willing to pay and they can use and they continue to use. And then once you get to that 1 million revenue, then from 1 million to 10 million is another journey, right? But of course, this obsession with customers, it's an ongoing process. I can't tell you that it's my ask with the team, with product team, with the sales team, with the customer success team at Kudo, that we need to always be close to our customers, not just to listen to what they ask, to see how they use the product, right? Because to see how they use the product, how convenient our UI is, how user-friendly our UX is, right? These are all very important for having this continuous development. And also two categories: what they need and what they will need at some point, right? So
you never stop, iterate and innovate on your product, right? You're always looking for the next.
We have to always stay relevant. There are two reasons, because the product market fit for a product that we launched in 2018 might not be the right solution for today's market, right? You have a lot of companies that they constantly following you and developing, right? So how you can always stay relevant to your customers and innovate, and that only happens by being very close to customers.
That's true, yeah. And that's also very important for event managers, event professionals, to listen to their attendees, right? Like their attendees is their customer, and we know some conferences today, it's pretty boring sometimes when you just have like that keynote, you cannot engage at all. It's the same format all the time. Like how your product helps to either remove any barrier among, like especially we are here in New York, it's a multicultural city. We speak like hundreds of different languages here. How do you see your product helping organizations like United Nations to create conferences that really go to the next level and impact more people?
Yeah. Thank you for this. Engagement is really the key, right? When you think about ROI for any event planner, it's all about the engagement and what happens after the meeting, not what's happening during the meeting. So language access, in my hypothesis, is going to be similar to diversity and inclusion that we have right now, right? So in a couple of years, language is a necessity for businesses to do business globally. So if you ever attended a medical conference, if you ever attended, and these are like doctors coming in to follow the latest talk, let's say on cardiac surgery, right? Yeah. You have these Japanese doctors coming in, and they're pretty good in making that 15-20 minute presentation because they practice and they're ready to deliver. But when it comes to Q&A, when it comes to really people on the participant, you see most English native speakers are asking the questions, and vice versa, right? And that's really the downside of not having language access during meetings. It's we've done a lot of, our customers done a lot of surveys amongst basically engagement, especially in EMEA and the APAC region. And they see that about 46% increase in engagement when they provide language access during the meetings. And instead of, let's say, having English speaking panelists, they have Japanese speaking panelists, and the English speakers, they follow this. So there is a huge ROI when you have 20, 30, hundreds of exec business leaders getting together, and think about the cost for these people to be there for 1 day, 2 day event, and where the communication is not clear, right? So that's really the downside of not having language access.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge for the next years. And this is definitely part of inclusion. That's definitely part of accessibility. Accessibility, it is for us on InEvent, it is all about like make sure any person anywhere in the world, they can connect, right? They can connect through their device or in person, if they are in person at that meeting, at that place, and make sure they will understand what's happening, understand and be able to access the content, access and engage with that meeting. That's really important, and it's something that I believe all our audience, they know that, they recognize that, and they're investing more and more in this. So for you, do you believe that's very important for like looking next to the market? You will see AI will take more space on this industry. Do you see that's not yet still gonna take more years to AI to be in the same level of a person translating, because also some cultural aspects that is not able to the AI yet to capture, or even face, right? Like you needed to recognize the face expression of the person and etc. So how do you see your technology and the whole market, your market, develop in the next years to be more AI backed?
Yeah, definitely AI has had a significant development in the last couple of years, specifically in the NLP and language. And we see AI is going to be relevant in some new use cases where it's one-to-many and where the conversation is not interactive. Some of these conversations are like webinars or training with pre-scripted conversation, and also you can basically educate the engine to be ready for that subject matter. But I see AI as a new use case, as an expansion opportunity rather than replacement. So I believe that AI and human, both, they're going to be relevant for years to come. I always think of call centers. Call centers, 15 years, billions of dollars of investment. You still make a phone call and you have both AI and human, depending on the type of the call you make, type of customer support, type of interaction you have, and what level of airline you have, right? So still expansion. I see AI as an expansion rather than replacement.
Perfect. That's great. And what's your opinion now that physical events, like physical meetings, are back again? Is it again that the new protagonist will be the in-person meetings? This is what you see your customers pushing back, or you believe it's still 50-50, or virtual is still more relevant than in person?
I see the event industry as like roaring 20s, right? So everybody is very excited in 2022 to go back to in-person because they just missed traveling and so on. But I see this appetite is going to decrease, especially with the cost of travel and hotel. And instead of going to 10 events a year, participants, they decide to attend maybe 2 out of 10 and attend the other 8 events as a hybrid participant. So I see next year we're going to see going back to hybrid events. Even today, most events are hybrid. And definitely there's going to be smaller event, 100, 200, 300 people that they're attending in person. But when you go to larger events, it's definitely, in my opinion, it's going to be hybrid. Some in person, some remote.
Yeah, and of course, it depends on some events, depends on how important that is for your company particular, right? Like there are some big trade shows like CES, for example, on the technology side, that companies like Sony or Samsung, they must be there, right? Like they needed to be there. And other people, and we will see that now the e-commerce live is growing, right? Like people doing live streaming during those trade shows, that will probably increase. So it's all about a combination, right? Like take advantage of the technology. Of course, Wi-Fi and the infrastructure in those trade shows and some events are not the best one, but and very expensive. But you needed to invest on be in person, and at the same time be virtual in an environment that people can reach out to you.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I'm very grateful that we have two options for us, both in person and hybrid events. And it really gives the flexibility for people to decide and be more present without having the entire budget, right? So I attended Zoomtopia about 2 weeks ago, and we were 2,000 people on site, or 3,000.
Did you attend in person or in person?
Nice.
Yeah,
I was going in California, and so I attended the event. And then there were, thousands others remote, different time zones, and attending and so on.
Watching on demand some content as well, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have integration with Zoom or how?
Yes, we do have integration with Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and a few other platforms.
Nice. And right now is also, we were just talking about the World Cup, right? And it's a hybrid event, and somehow you can have people going watching on parties together, or in a pub, in a bar, and you have thousands of people, millions of people in Qatar. Would you like to be there, or it's okay to not be there?
I had tickets, actually.
Oh, you sir, is still going?
I had tickets, but I decided not to go.
Oh, you sold, okay. But you are watching online or live streaming or on TV, right?
Most of the games, yes. There are some 5 a.m. which I skipped that.
No, yeah, those are the hard ones. It's better to just watch the highlights.
Exactly.
And this is something we will see this going to enterprise, right? We were talking about, and we use a lot of like a meeting recording, so you can go back and watch those meetings again on demand. You can capture the best moments of the meetings. You can save, take notes on your own time. I think this flexibility to either be in person, and then when you want to go back and watch those sessions on demand, that's the key aspect. Yes. How do you see that? Like, do you take advantage of these for sales, for customer success, for product development as well?
So we have a lot of internal guideline about number of meetings that we attend in the company, and I use that usually as a guideline for our go-to-market as well. Nice. So we do a lot of asynchronous meetings, recorded video, share first, a Loom video, and then we comment, and then we get on a call for Q&A. Right? So we try to save time. Especially as a remote team, different time zones, it's very expensive also to have like this large number of people for product launches, training, and so on. In regards to Kudo, we have a product called Replay, where you can upload your pre-recorded video and have it interpreted in voice in different languages within 3 days with the quality interpreting. So that's also for video on demand as well. So anybody who has an existing video and all of a sudden they want to have this video in different languages, we can do that on a self-serve platform.
That's perfect. So just to wrap up our talk today, being as an entrepreneur and living this day-to-day to build a company and a culture, a product to reach and support thousands, millions of people worldwide, what is your advice for people that are not entrepreneur, but they can have this mindset on their career, to build their career with the right entrepreneur mindset? What is your advice for those that maybe cannot build their own company, but they are working somewhere, they're working on a project, and they can get the same, responsibility or the sense of accomplishment that you have in your life?
It's a very it's a last question.
Yeah, last question.
Okay, good. So
it's at the same time it is tough, right, to be an entrepreneur, but on the other hand, you see the accomplishments you made and everything that you were able to achieve, and people that are employee, they don't need to have the same responsibility. Sometimes they don't need to have the same pressure on their hands. But if they explore some autonomy, and especially today, right, like in tech companies, startup companies, in a hybrid world, we have more and more autonomy for people to achieve their goals, to follow their passion, not just do a day-to-day job because they are paid for, but to really achieve something unique in their life.
Yeah. I was actually talking to our director of People Ops who's doing our leadership program at the company this morning. And her next year plan is really growing this mindset about how to think like a CEO, right? Amongst all the managers at the company. So first of all, back to your question, being an entrepreneur is tough. It's sometimes very lonely up there, right? But at the same time, it's very rewarding. But you have to make a lot of difficult decisions, and you get to stick with those decisions, right? They're good and bad, right? So it's very difficult. I've actually never received a paycheck in my life. So I never experienced the other side. Just very inexperienced to see how it is to work for somebody. But one of the things that we look at when hiring people is just having that entrepreneur mindset, right? Putting them in situation during the interview process. What would you do in this situation, right? So at the same time, I don't think everybody needs to be an entrepreneur, right? It's not for everyone.
It's not for everyone. And entrepreneurs need employees, vice versa.
And vice versa, right? Exactly. So it's a different choice of lifestyle, and so far I'm happy about my choice. But I don't know if this is the right fit for everybody.
Yes, yeah, that's great. Yeah, but as well, also as your platform allows, right, like thousands of professional translators to access your platform and develop their career on top of that. So we will see more and more of those solutions. That the technology is enabling this more, right? And so people with the right mindset, they can get further, they can build something unique out of their career using the right technology.
Exactly.
So yeah, thank you so much for this talk today. We learned a lot of valuable lessons here for building companies, building meetings, building events that can be more inclusive, more accessible, investing on this right now, because this is not just the future, it is the actual moment that we are living. How important it is to break any language barrier among our stakeholders. So we had a great conversation, and I hope we're gonna see you and work together as InEvent and Kudo together.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
There is like a level of composure that event professionals, and especially in this industry, that you have to have to be able to pull off a successful event.